What's going on, guys? It's Hi, and this is my 2019 Toyota Tacoma that I purchased from Robert Larson Toyota of Tacoma. Today I'd like to share with you the story of how purchasing my dream truck turned out to be possibly the worst buying experience that I've ever had, and how I was scammed by this dealership. Let's start at the beginning. I had just purchased a 2019 Toyota Corolla hatchback from this same dealership and felt that I was in a good position to buy another vehicle. I wanted to buy my dream truck, and that is the Toyota Tacoma. So I came back the following day, went through and bought the truck. The overall buying experience wasn't bad. It was okay. Everything went through. I purchased the truck and thought that everything was good. However, after purchase, things just started to fall apart and the issues started to really come to light. The first thing immediately after purchase was the condition of the truck upon delivery when I actually received it after signing all of the paperwork. My truck just had this dirt and gunk that was visible all over it. And from what I was told, when a new vehicle arrives to a dealership, it comes in this protective wrap to protect it, and over time, dirt and gunk can develop around this plastic wrap. So imagine like a sticker. Once you put a sticker down, if you leave it there for a while, you peel the sticker off, you'll notice a ring of dirt where that sticker was, and that's essentially what this was. So they took the truck back, went into the dealership and detailed it again, only for certain spots to be overlooked and there still being some dirt and gunk on my truck. After the second try of detailing my truck, they told me to just not worry about it, because when I bring the truck in for SiliJet, the technician would have to completely detail the exterior and interior of the truck. Everything will be completely clean and that gunk will be gone. At this point, I have to jump back and talk about SiliJet. In short, this is a paint sealant, and the manufacturer makes a lot of big, bold, extravagant claims about its product, but I personally have never heard of SiliJet prior to buying the Corolla and the Tacoma. I'm one of those people who don't really believe in extended warranties. I typically just buy the vehicle, gamble with what I get, and that typically works out in my favor. But surprisingly this time around, because this is my dream truck and I do intend to keep it pretty much forever until it completely breaks down, I wanted to protect it as much as I can, so I bought all the important warranties. I bought a warranty to cover the engine and all the mechanical parts. I bought a warranty for the dents and dings that might occur to the exterior. I bought a warranty for all the electronics, because this truck is really heavily loaded with electronics and certain things I feel that if something were to go wrong, I wouldn't be able to fix. So again, I just wanted to prepare myself and really get this truck going for as long as possible. I essentially bought all of the warranties that would cover the internals. Everything that would make the truck run, I got. All that's really left to do was to cover the exterior of the truck, the cosmetics, and this is how I was sold on SiliJet. When I was in the financing office, I was told that if I got SiliJet, the entire truck would be covered from scratches, as in, if I got a scratch for any reason, if somebody comes up and keys my truck, that would be covered. I would be protected from any scratches. I made sure that this was the case. I made sure that I was getting this scratch protection. I made sure that multiple people heard what was being told to me. I was assured that this was so I purchased the SiliJet. Well, shortly after leaving the dealership and contacting SiliJet themselves, I found out that this is not the case. This is nowhere near the case. SiliJet will cover nothing of the sorts. Again, SiliJet is a paint sealant, so they really only cover that arena of work. They're not going to cover scratches and the like. So again, they're not going to cover somebody coming up and keying your car like I was expecting and like I was told. That was the first major red flag in this entire transaction. Funny enough, when I purchased all these warranties, I was told that if I ended up not wanting them the next day, a week, a month, a year, whatever later, I can just come back and get a prorated refund. But can you guess what is non-refundable? SiliJet. The unfortunate thing is, of course, I was not told this at the time of purchase. I was told that everything was refundable. So after I found out what SiliJet actually covers, I tried to get my refund, and no go. Another issue that I had with the SiliJet was that it wasn't applied properly. Now, I'm no expert on this process, but from what I've seen, it's applied essentially like a wax. You put it on the finish and you buff it in. Remember earlier how I told you that there was gunk and dirt on my car from the protective cover, and how all of that was supposed to be cleaned and detailed before the SiliJet was actually applied? Well, that gunk actually turned out to be an indicator of how poorly the Silverjet was applied. After everything was done, I was looking at the car and noticed that those streaks of gunk from the protective cover was still there. So obviously it shows that whoever applied the Silverjet didn't do a thorough job and they didn't actually detail the car properly. I had to schedule the Silverjet for reapplication, but I really think that they just reapplied it at the spot where the gunk was, where I showed them, because the first time around it was an all-day process. The Silverjet took like 4 hours to complete the entire truck. This time around it took 2 hours, but this is considering that I had the truck in for other warranty issues that we'll get to soon. I personally have my doubts about this dealership's application of my Silverjet, and because I paid like this huge chunk of money for it, I would like to know that it was properly applied and that I'm actually getting everything that was advertised to me. I would love to get my truck in and properly Silverjetted, but there's only really one concern, because again, Silverjet is applied on like wax. It's buffed in, and a car only has so much clear coat. If you keep going at it, that clear coat is going to be wiped away, and eventually you're going to be in trouble. And it's just a concern of mine to, if I were to bring it in to have it re-Silverjetted again, to have somebody who I already have a bad experience with and know that they don't really do a proper job. It's concerning. As for the Silverjet, it is what it is. I took a major loss by paying hundreds for it, but there isn't really much that I can do now. I just have to live with it. But of course, the problems don't stop there. I was out checking the Tacoma out and I noticed something weird. My driver window wouldn't roll all the way up, and it was just sitting right below the weather stripping, and there was a noticeable gap. When I went to touch the actual glass of the window, it was shifting around and moving much more easily, because I checked all of the other windows and this was not a problem with any one of them. It was just my driver's side window. This was very concerning because I'm in Washington. This state is known to have rain, so having a window that doesn't close all the way isn't exactly what you want. There was actually a big thunderstorm the night that I discovered that problem, and I had to go out and tape up my window so that rain wouldn't go in and destroy everything. Imagine that, taping up the windows of a car that you just bought. After this, I really began to start inspecting the truck. I removed the front license plate bracket and discovered that it was hiding a deep gouge in the bumper. I went under the truck and discovered that there were more gouges and even surface rust. Surface rust on a brand new truck on the freaking frame. Let me also point out that at this point, the truck only had about 100 miles on it, and 50 of those miles were before I even purchased it. It was from other people test driving the truck. So within the 50 miles that I owned it, I had to drive back and forth to the dealership about 7 times to deal with all of these issues. So realistically, I had about 20 miles of personal driving on this truck. Can you imagine having these kind of issues when you only own the truck for realistically 20 miles? At this point, I was done. I took the truck to the dealership and showed them all of the problems that I had found. They scheduled me for the following day. I took the truck in, the window was fixed, and the Silverjet was reapplied. I asked about my frame and my bumper, and at this point I was told that this truck was a dealer trade. This means that my truck came from another dealership, and typically this isn't a problem because dealerships just trade cars back and forth with one another. It's common practice. But the problem is that when my truck came to Toyota of Tacoma, the associates didn't do the proper inspection. I assumed that when the truck came in, they just looked at it, said, yeah, it's a new truck, it's good to go, it's good for sale, and they just sold it to the next person that wanted it, and that just happens to be me. The original dealership that this truck came from was supposed to do a full, thorough inspection that covers everything about this truck. And we can't say if they did or did not, because when it came to Toyota Tacoma, they pretty much told me that they didn't have an inspection from the original dealership, so let's say that they didn't do it. So Toyota Tacoma received the truck, but they themselves didn't do the inspection, so nobody looked at this thing and they just went out and sold it. This is obviously not the right thing to do, but probably isn't an issue in most cases. But when you get somebody in like me who actually has all of these problems, then we have something to deal with. At the end of the day, because Toyota of Tacoma didn't do the proper inspections they didn't know about these issues, so they couldn't pass the information on to me. So I purchased this truck without knowing its full actual condition, whether it be good or bad. They actually admitted that they didn't do an inspection, and that is clear. But I was told that nothing can be done because nothing can be proven. No one can prove if all these damages were done by the other dealership, if they were done at this dealership, or it was done by me. So we're kind of nowhere. Nothing can be proven, and obviously that's the case. How can we prove any of this? But had Toyota of Tacoma thoroughly inspected this vehicle like they were supposed to, none of this would have been an issue. They could have had the problems fixed prior to someone purchasing it, or they could not have fixed it and told the buyer, me, and I could have dealt with it by negotiating a different price or just not buy the truck. I would not have bought this truck had I known that I had these issues. So it seems like because of this dealership's mistake, because they didn't thoroughly inspect the vehicle when it arrived, I have to pay for it. I now have to get the rust removed and treated from my frame, and I also have a damaged bumper. Instead of looking at my Toyota Tacoma and thinking, wow, I have my dream truck, I now associate it with never buy from Robert Larson Toyota of Tacoma again. At this point, I would like to ask for your help. Please give this video a like, comment down below with your thoughts, and make sure to share this video around so that we can bring attention to this situation to help prevent the scam that I experienced from happening to other buyers. And of course, subscribe to this channel for more content. Hopefully, I will be able to bring you an update on this situation in the near future. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.